Hey there. So this is my intro to public health presentation. I've decided to do it on the dangers of children in the United States consuming the dye Red 40. So first we're going to discuss what exactly is Red 40. So it is a widely used synthetic food coloring made from petroleum. If you don't know what petroleum is, it's a crude oil, fossil fuel that is thick and flammable. It's a mixture of hydrocarbons found below the ground surface. A few other things that's used with petroleum to make is gasoline, diesel fuel, and many more. So it is one of 9 certified color additives that the Food and Drug Administration has approved to be used within food and drinks. But Red 40 is the most common synthetic food color additive within the United States. So some other names that you can be on the lookout for are Allure Red AC, Red 40 Lake, E129, FD and C Red Aluminum Lake, and CI Food Red 17. All of these are Red 40. So any type of packaging that you see any of these names, then you know that it contains Red 40. So I wanted to add some sources of Red 40. When I say this, I'm referring to what specifically can Red 40 be found in. So here are some lists. We have candy, beverages, snacks, medicines. Some candies could include Skittles and Twizzlers. Beverages, most sports drinks, and soda. Snacks can be chips, Pop-Tarts, gum, and medicine. A lot of people overlook medicines because it's not really a snack or a drink, but Red 40 is found in Benadryl, Children's Motrin, NyQuil, and Pediacare. So at this point, you guys are probably wondering, why is Red 40 an issue? What's the big deal about, synthetic food colorings if it's not a lot? Well, I wanted to give you guys this example. This is a photo of a brain scan that was done on a teenager named Robert. Robert went in to see the doctor. His parents noticed that he consumed red drinks and foods. His behavior changed. He became a lot more aggressive and hostile and angry. So they decided to take him to Amen Clinic, and this was the scan that came back of his brain. The study was done by Dr. Dale Pokupek. So on the left side, you can see that this was his brain beforehand. The red and white signify brain activity. So the photo on the left is what an active brain looks like. And then on the right, this was a photo of his brain after exposing him to Red 40, whether in drinks or food, etc. So a little note, both adults and children have reported upset stomachs, migraines, jitteriness, nervousness, and an inability to concentrate after high intakes of this dye. Another thing, children with ADHD are extremely affected, while children without ADHD are hyperactive, but are also put at risk of having ADHD or developing it. Little update on Robert. So after this scan was done, his parents limited his intake and eventually completely cut him off of red dye 40. And since then, his behavior has dramatically changed. He's calmer, not angry, not hostile, etc. So continuing with why this is such an issue, the food industry dumps 15 million pounds of artificial dyes into our foods every year, and over 40% of that is the synthetic dye Red 40. Although been fought against many times by different states and communities, the FDA still approves this dye to be safe. I wanted to talk about who is most susceptible to long-term damages, and at number 1 we have children anywhere from birth to 6 years old. This is because the brain undergoes significant development in the first few years of life, and by age 6 it's about 90 to 95% of its adult size. So I know some parents that are, very cautious about giving their children allergy medicine or pain medicine because they are still developing. So anyone from birth to 6, you have to be very, very careful because that is when their brain is growing the most and developing the most. At number 2, we have people diagnosed with ADHD already. Like in the previous slide, we got to see what a brain looks like with normal activity compared to the brain on Red 40. So someone diagnosed with ADHD already has extremely high activity within their brain. So those that do have ADHD and consume Red 40, it triples, which this can lead to very severe health problems. And then at number 3, we have young adults up to early 20s. And this is because the brain finishes developing and maturing in the early to mid 20s. The part of the brain behind the forehead, called the prefrontal cortex, is one of the last parts to mature. So if we are able to avoid any type of potential risk to our brain, if it's still developing, then we should take precaution and not consume these things. So I also wanted to point out that it does not just affect people. A recent study was done at St. Peter's University that shows the effects of synthetic food coloring has on tadpoles. They used tadpoles as the subject to see if they were too affected by it. These groups were taken, one given Red 40, another group given a mix of Red 40 and tartazine, and then the other group was given just tartazine. These tadpoles were observed over 2 weeks, and Group A, which had just Red 40, were observed to have the most activity and movement within those 2 weeks. So this goes to show that even animals are affected negatively to this dye. Now let's talk about what has been done to help this issue. The first person to propose that food additives can cause learning disabilities was Benjamin Feingold. So in 1973, Benjamin Feingold proposed that food additives causing learning disabilities and hyperactivity within children. He reported many improvements when dye was removed from a child's diet. In fact, 75% of the children who had offending substances removed from their diets improved their behaviors. He never published research, rather he wrote and signed editorial in Hospital Practice 1973 and a commentary in American Journal of Nursing in 1975. And then also in 1975 he wrote Why Your Child is Hyperactive. Now let's talk about progress being made today. At change.org, they are asking for signatures now to ban Red 40 in products that we consume. I will have in the references a link to where anyone who wants to go sign that petition can. Next, California legislator proposed banning these food dyes in public schools. So a California lawmaker introduced a bill back in 2021 that would ban a handful of food dyes and chemicals already outlawed in the European Union from food served in the United States. The latest push for regulating artificial ingredients aimed that they're linked to behavioral issues, hyperactivity, and trouble focusing. Sadly, the bill did not pass due to lack of scientific evidence. However, that was in 2021, and since then there have been many more pushes to get that synthetic dye banned. This was just a larger one, so I wanted to bring that to light. Next, social media is spreading awareness of foods that contain this synthetic dye and giving alternate options to consume. How the world is now, you can find anything on the internet, anything on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Many platforms on TikTok and Instagram solely base their videos upon exposing the food industry, pointing out, ingredients that you don't exactly notice, but what exactly they are and the effects that they have on people's bodies. A few that I know of that post these things spread awareness about Red 40 and, trying to avoid putting that in their children's diets and give alternatives to what you could eat instead. So I also want to talk about my personal suggestions to help this issue. If the food industry's goal is to look more appealing on the shelves, then the companies can start using more natural products to enhance their color. If Red 40 is being used because it is the cheaper choice, juice companies like Minute Maid, Simply Orange, Tropicana, and many others could sell the fruit peels or scraps to other companies and have them turn to natural dyes. People do this now, and they've done this for years and years, turning these fruits into colors to be used, for paints, and the same can be for food. Next, teaming up with other companies to reduce price in natural products. And then also, this is a suggestion for all Americans, especially parents with younger children. You have got to read the labels before buying any products. Red 40 can be called so many different things, like talked about on slide 1. So until the FDA makes bans or limits on how much this dye can be used within the products, we are in charge of steering away these bad products and keeping an eye out for healthy, good alternatives. And that concludes my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys take away, some notes and maybe applying this to your real lives, and just being cautious when you buy different products to check the labels. Here I have my references where I pulled some information from. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you enjoyed.